The Munich Olympics of 1972, held in Germany, were intended to showcase a new image of the country, one that was strictly different from the Germany we knew from World War II, aimed for the Olympics to be a celebration of peace and unity, a significant departure from 1936 Berlin Games, which were used by Hitler to promote Aryan superiority. However, the world would remember this event for something far darker. Hi, I'm Scorp, and thank you for watching this video. If you think the video was good, consider subscribing. It helps me out. Anyway, let's get back into the video. Before we dive into the details, let's examine the key elements that led to this tragic outcome. In 1972, Germany hosted the Olympics in Munich. Last time Germany had hosted the Games was in Berlin 1936, under Hitler regime. The Olympics was used to assert the dominance of the Aryan race and excluded Jewish athletes from competing. By contrast, the 1972 Games were intended to present a new Germany, one that embraced peace and democracy. To these ends, the organizers deliberately avoided heavy presence of armed security to avoid invoking memories of the Nazi era. Instead, 4,000 German policemen was deployed in civil clothes and unarmed. The opening ceremony took place on August 26, 1970, marking the beginning of 15 days of competition, scheduled to conclude on September 10. On September 5th at 4:10 a.m., a Palestinian terrorist group known as Black September breached the fence of the Olympics village and entered the Israeli team's quarters. Inside, they encountered Moshe Weinberg, the wrestling coach, who attempted to resist and was shot in the cheek. Yosef Getafreund, a wrestling judge, noticed the terrorists and tried to prevent them from entering the apartment by shouting for help. Tuvia Solovsky, another team member, broke the window and escaped. Suddenly, the other 6 members of the team was taken hostage by the terrorists. The terrorists forced Weinberg to lead them to another apartment. He led them to the wrestlers' and weightlifters' apartment, hoping they could stop them. However, the athletes were asleep, and the terrorists easily took them captive. Weinberg was eventually killed, and his bloodied, naked body was dumped outside the building. These horrifying images were broadcast around the world. The terrorists took 9 Israelis hostages and murdered 2. David Berger, Yosef Groentfreud, Moshe Weinberg, Eliezer Khalfin, Mark Salvin, Zev Friedman, Yosef Romano, Kahed Shor, Andrei Shifter, Amitzur Shapira, Yaakov Speringer. They demanded the release of 232 Palestinian terrorists held in Israeli prisons, as well as 2 additional terrorists detained in Germany, threatening to kill more hostages if their demands were not met by noon. Germany law prevented the military from intervening in civil situations like this, and the police lacked the necessary expertise and equipment to handle such a crisis. Black September's demands included the release of 232 terrorists in Israeli custody and 2 in Germany. In response, Israeli Prime Minister at the time, Golda Meir, and her government decided to not negotiate with terrorists. Meanwhile, the German police pretending that Israeli government are cooperating in order to buy time. The Olympics Committee decided the games should continue despite the situation, and the competition continued for another 7 hours before it was halted at 4 p.m. The police realized that a rescue operation inside the Olympic village was unfeasible, so they negotiated with the terrorists to move to another location where they could act. During the negotiation, the police attempted a rescue operation, but quickly realized that all the cameras are broadcasting and the terrorists can see them on TV. The plan was compromised, and the police bailed on the rescue operation. The original plan by West German authorities to handle the hostage crisis was to offer to transport the terrorists and the Israeli hostages by a plane to Cairo. The terrorists agreed. 2 military helicopters were arranged to take them to a NATO airbase, although the terrorists initially wanted to go to Rhine. The negotiators persuaded that the NATO airbase was a better option. As the group prepared to move to the helicopters, the West German police saw an opportunity for an ambush. They stationed sharpshooters along the route and after a quick inspection of the path, the terrorists decided to take a bus instead, avoiding the ambush. Then, 5 German policemen were deployed around the airport in sniper roles, though none had a special sniper training or equipment. They were ordinary officers selected for their weekend competitive shooting skills. The crisis team, along with Mossad chief Zevi Zamir, observed the operation from the airport control tower. A Boeing 727 jet with West German police disguised as a fight crew was positioned on the tarmac, giving the snipers an opportunity to take down the remaining terrorists. However, at the last moment, the police inside the plane voted to abandon their mission, leaving the 5 snipers as their only line of defense against the heavily armed terrorists. When the helicopter landed, the situation quickly escalated. 4 of the terrorists held the pilots at gunpoint, while another 2 inspected the empty plane, realizing, too late, that they had been lured into a trap. As they ran back to the helicopters, Sniper 3 tried to eliminate one of them but missed. The German authorities then ordered the snipers to open fire, sparking a chaotic gun battle. 2 kidnappers were killed, but the remaining gunmen managed to return fire from behind and beneath the helicopters. The airport lights were out, further complicating the situation. Amid the chaos, the hostages tied up inside the helicopter desperately tried to loosen their bonds. The situation escalated rapidly as armored personnel carriers called in to break the deadlock arrived too late. At midnight, one of the terrorists opened fire on the hostages, killing them instantly before setting off a grenade that destroyed the helicopter. Right after, 2 more terrorists were killed, but not before all remaining hostages were massacred. The incident ended with 3 terrorists captured by 1:30 a.m. on September 6, and the tragedy was over. All the hostages have been killed, along with the police pilot. The 1972 Munich Massacre exposed a significant lapse in the preparedness of German authorities to handle a terrorist situation. This failure led directly to the establishment of the Police Counter-Terrorism Unit GSG-9 less than 2 months later. The critical mistakes were restrictions imposed after the war, which prevented the military from intervening in civil situations. This left the entire responsibility for the rescue operation in the hands of the Munich police. The situation deteriorated further due to a poor communication and planning. Although it was known that the number of kidnappers was lower than initially believed, the decision to proceed with the rescue operation as planned proved disastrous. The snipers, lacking radios, were unable to receive critical updates, compromising their effectiveness. Basic sniping principles were ignored, such as deploying enough snipers to neutralize the attackers in single volume. Tactical errors compounded the situation, with the helicopter landing in a position that exposed the snipers to a friendly fire, and inadequate equipment further compromised the operation. Israel responded by airstrike on a terrorist camp in Syria and Lebanon. Dozens of jet and fighters bombed 10 bases and killed moreover than 200 terrorists. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you learned and had a great time as well. Feel free to subscribe and give a like, and don't forget to leave your opinions in the comments below. I will see you in the next video.